Dear students, welcome to Tungala online classes. Today I am going to start with the internal structure of the testes. So in the last video we had gone through the external features of the testes and where the testes are present and where they are descended in, right? They are descended into the scrotal sac. All those things that we discussed so very thoroughly in the last video, and in this video I am going to start with the internal structure of each testis. So I am considering only one testis. So how is the structure of testis? And so whenever you see the coverings of the testis, so outer coverings of the testis, what are the outer coverings, how they are, all those things that we are going to learn in this video in detailed manner, right? Let us start with our testis now, right? Whenever we see a testis, the structure of the testis, okay, so here one testis I have drawn over here, and this testis has the outer coverings that we come across over here, one fibrous covering that we come across over here, and that fibrous covering, whatever we come across, Tunica Albuginea, what it is known as Tunica Albuginea. Tunica Albuginea is the innermost, or we can say it is the middle one. Sometimes we can say, why? Because another lining is made by, so Tunica vaginalis. So tunicae means coverings, right? So we are going to start with the coverings of testes, all right? And this is Tunica Albuginea, what we call it as. Above this Tunica Albuginea, there we come across another thick layer, thick sponge-like layer that we come across, and this layer itself is said to be as Tunica vaginalis. Tunica vaginalis it is called as. This is Tunica vaginalis and this is Tunica Albuginea. Inside the Tunica Albuginea, there we come across one more layer, and that layer is called as Tunica vasculosa, right? Tunica vasculosa. Inner to this one lies Tunica vasculosa. Tunica vasculosa. I am going to highlight that one later, right? And this testis, whenever we see three coverings that we come across, first one is Tunica Albuginea and Tunica vaginalis and Tunica vasculosa are the three layers that we come across over here, right? And whenever you take the section of this testis, there you come across inside this testis various number of compartments, right? So various number of compartments that we come across inside each testis, and they are about 250 compartments. They are about 250 compartments that we come across, and those are named as testicular lobules. What they are named as? Testicular lobules. Let us draw that one also now, right? Those are testicular lobules. I am going to draw here. Okay, so this is the part in which we are seeing the testicular lobules. So this is one testicular lobule that we come across here. Okay, and this is another testicular lobule that you come across here. This is another one. This is another one. Like this, there are 250 number of testicular lobules that we come across here, and all those 250 number of testicular lobules that contains slightly coiled tubular structures. Coiled tubular structures it contains, and those coiled tubular structures that we come across inside each testicular lobule are called as seminiferous tubules. Now I am going to highlight here tunica vaginalis. Over here it is nothing but what actually this is helping for, right? Tunica vasculosa I am going to highlight over here. This makes the lining of the tunica albuginea. Alright, tunica vasculosa, it is said as it makes the lining of tunica albuginea. Right, so this is how three protective layering that we come across over here. The outermost one is called as tunica vaginalis, and inner to that one tunica albuginea. Only two layers we can consider. The lining of the tunica albuginea is made by the third layer, that is tunica vasculosa, which is containing a various number of blood capillaries which pass through it, which contains many number of blood capillaries. What it suggests is tunica vasculosa itself is highly vascularized structure, right? So which provides blood to this testis itself. There is very important point to be noted over here, right? So now we are seeing here many number of testicular lobules. These are what these are named as testicular lobules. Testicular lobules they are called as, right? And each testicular lobule, how many they are? They are about 250 number of testicular lobules are there, and these each testicular lobule contains 1 to 3 number of seminiferous tubules, which contains 1 to 3 number of seminiferous tubules, right? Seminiferous tubules it contains. See here, I am going to draw the same diagram over here. So here, there you come across a little coiled seminiferous tubule over here. Okay, there you come across 1 to 3 number of seminiferous tubules that you come across here. Okay, and the seminiferous tubule on one end it closes, on another end it makes the narrow elongated tubule over here, right, on another end, right? So they are about 1 to 3 number of testicular lobules, seminiferous tubules are present in each lobule. Now you are observing a various number of seminiferous tubule that we come across over here. Yes, you are observing here So these red colored compartments are called as what? Testicular lobule, and inside each testicular lobule there you come across black colored tubular structures. So they are 1 to 3 in number, and these are named as seminiferous tubules. I shall label here, these are nothing but seminiferous tubules, right? So there are 1 to 3 number, in the sense that, so how many number of seminiferous tubules are present in each testis? The question may arise in a NEET examination. So it is 250 number of testicular lobules are there, and each contain 1 to 3 number of seminiferous tubules. Highest number whenever we consider that moment, so 250 into 3, so 750 number of seminiferous tubules are present in each testis. You can answer very easily the MCQs that may occur in the examination, right? So this is more important point to be noted as far as NEET is concerned, right? So okay, this is about the testicular lobules and seminiferous tubules, right? And whenever the ends of these seminiferous tubules that you observe, so they become a straight tubules itself, and all those straight tubules all together form a network of tubules, fine tubules. It makes, and that network of fine tubules is called as what? It is said by serrated testes. I am going to show this one very clearly to you, right? So these join themselves, these join like this, so as to form a network of tubules, and that network of tubules itself is forming that network of tubules, whatever it makes, right? Whatever it makes, here it ends over here, and this makes the network of tubules over here, and that network of a tubule itself is called as rete testis. What it makes? Rete testis. And that rete testis is later it opens into okay, it opens into fine elongated tubular structures, and these fine elongated tubular structures called as vasa efferentia. What they are named as? Vasa efferentia. And these vasa efferentia later, I shall write this one here little far away from here, vasa efferentia. So they are 2 to 11 in number, and those fine tubules are said to be as vasa efferentia. And these vasa efferentia that opens into a highly coiled tubular structure, which is lying adjacent to each testis itself on the posterior side, and that is known as what? It is called as epididymis. What it is known as? Highly coiled structure, highly coiled tubular structure, in which opens the vasa efferentia, and this highly coiled tubular structure is known as epididymis. already have told you in the last video only, there is connections, or there are some accessory ducts are present in each testis. In those one, so epididymis is one of them. So I have already mentioned this in the last class. Okay, so this forms the entire structure like this of this testis, and tunica vaginalis, whatever you are seeing over here, it uncovers like this. Okay, this is the entire structure of the testis you are observing here, right? So this highly coiled structure is called as epididymis. Epididymis it is called as, right? So see here, you are observing here, these are vasa efferentia, and these vasa efferentia that open into this highly coiled structure. You are observing here, it is opening into highly coiled structure. See here, reversals, you are observing. Okay, so this is how it is opening into this highly coiled structure called as epididymis. Yes, so now we came to know certain connections in the testes. So see here, this testis, whenever you take the section of this testis, there you come across number of compartments, and each compartment is called as a testicular lobule. Each testicular lobule contains 1 to 3 number of seminiferous tubules, and these seminiferous tubules, they are closed at one end, they are open at another end, and all of these together form a network of a tubule, and this network of a tubule itself is called as what? Vasa. So this is rete testis, what it is known as rete testis. Rete testis it is known as, and this rete testis network of tubular structures that open into, so the fine tubular structures, and these fine tubular structures are lined with ciliated epithelium, and those tubules all together, they are 2 to 11 in number, and all together called as vasa efferentia, and from the vasa efferentia there the opening into a highly coiled tubular structure called as epididymis that take place over here, right? So in these seminiferous tubules only the production of the sperms that take place over here. So now we came to know the location of the production of sperms over here, and after the sperm production they come into rete testis, and from the rete testis they enter into vasa efferentia. So from the vasa efferentia they enter into what? Epididymis. So this is how the produced sperms that travel through this tract itself. So this tract is very important for us to remember always. Okay, so I hope you will certainly remember this tract. Okay, so follow now. So this is epididymis. So this has 3 major structures or 3 major parts that we come across. One is head part, another one is middle body, it is called as, and last one is the tail part. So like this, there are 3 parts that we come across in epididymis, and the upper head part itself is said to be as caput epididymis. Caput epididymis is the head part of this epididymis, and this is the body, what we call it as, and this body itself is called as corpus epididymis. Corpus epididymis it is called as, and the tail part, so this is body part, and this is head part, and this is tail part, and it is called as cauda epididymis. what it is called as cauda epididymis, like this. So there are three major sections that we come across in epididymis. The first one is the head part, and the middle body part, and the last tail part. And the head part is called as caput epididymis, and the middle body part itself is called as corpus epididymis, and the tail part is called as cauda. Caudal stands for tail, so cauda epididymis it is called as. Like this, there are three major sections that we come across in the epididymis. And this epididymis that opens into little coiled large tubular structure. Okay, and this part that opens into, I shall show here, this continued part that opens into a large tubular structure called as and this greenish tubular structure, whatever I have continued this epididymis into the next structure, and that structure is called as vasa deferentia. Vasa deferentia or vas deferens it is called as. So this way the connections will be there from the seminiferous tubule to the rete testis, from the rete testis. So the next tubular structure itself is called as vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia open into epididymis. Epididymis open into a large tubular structure called as vasa deferens or vasa deferentia it is called as. So like this, the connections will be there. Whatever the sperms that are produced inside these seminiferous tubule, they travel across this tract, right? I hope you have understood the tract now very easily. So this vasa deferentia that enter into the abdominal part from hereafter itself. So that enters into the abdominal part through the, already I have told you, there is a canal that connects the testes to the abdomen. What is that canal called as? Inguinal canal. Through the inguinal canal, what passes? Spermatic cord passes. And what spermatic cord consisting of? The spermatic cord consisting of one nerve, one artery, one vein, as well as vas deferens. In the last video only I have mentioned, right? So I hope it is very clear to you now. So how the connections will be there in each testis. So we can observe the same structure, the same type of structure, so in the entire male reproductive system. So there we come across the connections, and along with this one where it continues, vas deferens that continues. So, and where it opens, I mean urethra it opens, and it come across many of the accessory glands, main reproductive accessory glands that we have already mentioned in the last video. So how the glands are and what they secrete and how they are contributing themselves so as to produce the sperms as well as other ingredients all together from the semen, thick whitish. So semen, how they form themselves. This is the fact what we are learning in the next coming classes itself, right? So after this one, where this connection continues, that we'll see. Before that, when we must have the knowledge, whenever we take the cross section of this testis, so how this testis that contain that is looking to be as, and how the production of the sperms that take place, where actually the production of sperms that take place, we came to know that is nothing but seminiferous tubule. Whenever we take the cross section of the seminiferous tubule or this testis, so how the seminiferous tubules are looking to be as, and how the production of sperms that take place inside the seminiferous tubule, all these are the things very so keenly we can observe, we are able to observe it. Why? Because we are learning internal structure of this testis. So this is all about the connections in the testis. Along with this one, the cross section of the testis, now we are going to learn. In NCERT, he has clearly mentioned the cross section of the testis, and he has given the diagram even, and that is more important aspect to be remember. And this is the primary sex organ. Why this is primary sex organ? Because it is responsible for the production of the gametes as well as the production of the hormones, I had said. So that's why from where the hormones are produced is also very important point to be noted over here. So that's why I'm going to deal with the cross section of the testis first, and later we'll go through the continuation part of this the tract itself, so up to the completion of the urinogenital tract. So the in males urinogenital tract that we come across here. So what is that and how it is formed in male reproductive system? The entire male reproductive system I am going to draw over here and explain the connections and how the sperms are ejaculated. So that is also explained over here thoroughly. So now we shall start with the cross section of each testis. And whenever you observe these testes, the testis is measuring about, that measurement is also given in NCERT. So that's why you must remember. So that is a line from NCERT. The length of this each testis is about 4 to 5 centimeter, and 2 to 3 centimeter is the width of each testis itself. That point to be noted by you people, right? So now I shall start with the cross section of testis now. Yes, cross section of the testis. Whenever you observe the cross section of the testis, you will find many small tubular structures, and those many small tubular structures, whatever we come across, they are said to be as seminiferous tubules. What these are named as? Seminiferous tubules. And all these seminiferous tubules, whatever you are observing, so all are bounded with the help of the connective tissue. And this connective tissue which surrounds all these seminiferous tubules, they are bounded with the help of seminiferous tubules are bounded with the help of the connective tissue called as interstitium, what we call it as interstitium, right? Each seminiferous tubule, whenever we observe, so there it is lined with the wall of this seminiferous tubule is lined with the germinal epithelium. What it is called as? Germinal epithelium. There we come across the germinal epithelium. Germinal epithelium. Those germinal epithelial cells are cuboidal cells. They are cuboidal cells. And apart from this one, there you come across, there the specialized triangular cells that we come across here, and those specialized triangular cells or pyramid shaped cells, they are known as what? Serotoli cells. What these are named as? Serotoli cells. Now we came to know that each seminiferous tubule is lined by germinal epithelium. This is germinal epithelium. Okay. Germinal epithelial cells are cuboidal in nature. Cuboidal in nature. They are cuboidal in nature. And each germinal epithelial cells are cuboidal in nature, and they are producing or they undergo the mitotic division so as to produce specialized cells. Those specialized cells are known as what? Sperm mother cells, we can say them as. Why? Because they are going to form the sperms in future, and those cells are named as spermatogonial cells. What they are known as? Spermatogonial cells. So these are known as spermatogonial cells. They are called as spermatogonial cells. Okay, now we came to know, so each seminiferous tubule is lined with germinal epithelium, and along with that one spermatogonial cells are also there, and these cells are also named as what? Sperm mother cells. Why? Because they are going to form the sperms in future. That is why they are called as sperm mother cells. They are also known as. And already I have mentioned here one more type of a cell over here, and this cell is called as Serotoli Cell, or these are also called as Testicular cells. Testicular cells, they are also known as MCQs. In MCQs it may be asked in the examination. Okay, so Serotoli cells are also named as testicular cells, and these Serotoli cells which help in nourishment of developing sperms. So these cells help in nourishment of developing sperms. Nourishment of developing sperms, these Serotoli cells help for. Okay, this is more important point to be noted. So I have shown this one only here in this seminiferous tubule. The same type of cells are present in this one, in this one, in this one, in this one, this one, this one, right? So the same type of arrangement of the cells is seen over there, right? So this must be always concentrated by you people. Okay, so I hope you are understanding this one, right? So now this Serotoli cell that produces a kind of proteins called as, so they produces androgen binding proteins. What they are named as? Androgen binding proteins. So androgen binding proteins, this is nothing but ABP, shortly said as ABP, androgen binding proteins. And these proteins, that is androgen binding proteins, which are secreted by the Serotoli cells, that concentrates means increases the concentration of the androgen. That androgen which is produced by the testes, in the last year you have learnt this one, that is nothing but testosterone hormone. Means ABP which help in concentrating the testosterone hormone, which help in concentrating the testosterone hormone, and that testosterone hormone would help in production of sperms very easily. This is the fact what you should remember. As far as NEAT is so concentrated over here, this ABP is also very important one, right? So this is one important thing. Along with this one, Serotoli cells also secretes one more chemical, that is inhibin. Inhibin is also produced over here. What is inhibin? I shall write this one. Serotoli cells also produce inhibin hormone itself, and this inhibin which is produced by the Serotoli cells, so this inhibits the production of or synthesis of EFSH. This inhibits synthesis of EFSH. Where is this EFSH produced from? It is produced from the pituitary gland, that is adenohypophysis of pituitary gland, so that you know it better, right? So remember that one. I will explain that one, hormonal control in male reproductive system. I will explain there in detail, right? So you just remember inhibin is also produced by Serotoli cell, and this inhibin inhibits the synthesis of FSH. Right, this is also more important point to be noted over here. These are the two things which are secreted by ABP as well as inhibin. So both of themselves are secreted by the Serotoli cells, which help in nourishment of developing sperms, that you must remember. Apart from this one, so how the germ cells, so they help in production of the gametes, is also a very important point to be noted over here. I shall show the same thing. So usually it is produced so on the wall of this Serotoli cell only. I shall show it very separately. So over here, drawing one Serotoli cell over here. This is one Serotoli cell and its nucleus, and this is the wall of the Serotoli cell. Here you come across the spermatogonial cell. What it is called as spermatogonial cell, and this spermatogonial cell undergo division so as to form many number of spermatogonial cells over here, right? So this is the first step of the sperm production itself, right? So now we came to know many number of spermatogonial cells are produced. So spermatogonial cells, these are. So these are spermatogonial cells. They undergo growth phase, means one of the spermatogonial cell, type A, type B are the spermatogonial cells produced over here. Type E, that undergoes a large size, means it undergoes growth phase so as to form a large sized cell. And this large sized cell, once again called as primary spermatocyte. It is called as primary spermatocyte. It is called as primary spermatocyte undergoes meiotic division. Meiotic, not mitotic. Here mitotic cell division has taken place over here, and later it undergoes meiotic division so as to form the two cells first, and both the cells are haploid in nature, and they are called as secondary spermatocytes. What these are named as? Secondary spermatocytes. Okay, now we came to know what are secondary spermatocytes, right? So after this one, the second meiotic division occurs over here, as a result of which there we come across how many cells are produced over here? 4 cells are produced over here, right? Now 4 cells are produced over here, and these are called as spermatids. What these are named as? Spermatids. And these spermatids later undergo certain changes in their structure, right? These are non-motile in nature, but later they become what? Motile in nature, right? These spermatids later they start to develop themselves into what? Into motile sperms. What these are? These are sperms. Motile sperms they become, right? So these become motile sperms. These become motile sperms later, right? So this is how the production of sperms that take place over here, and the head of the sperm is embedded into the Serotoli cell. Why? Because they are getting nourishment from the Serotoli cell. This is how the sperms are produced inside what? One Serotoli cell. On this side also the same thing is happening over here, right? The same thing is happening over here on this side also, right? This is how many number of sperms are produced inside the seminiferous tubule, right? You can observe here many number of sperms are produced like this inside this seminiferous tubule, right? Many number of sperms are produced over here, right? So this is how the sperms are produced over here. And one more important point to be remembered over here, what is that is, in the interstitium, what is this tissue surrounding this each seminiferous tubule known as interstitial cell. In the interstitial cell there are certain specialized cells. Interstitial cells are produced over here, or they are present over there, and these cells are called as interstitial cells, and these are also known as what? Leydig cells. What these are also named as Leydig cells. Leydig cells these are named as, and these Leydig cells are the specialized cells. Already I have told you in the last year only, these are the specialized cells that help in production of androgens called as a testosterone hormone, right? So I hope you know it better, that is a testosterone hormone is produced by the Leydig cells. Testosterone hormone is produced by the Leydig cells. So this is how the cross section of what is present as testis is present over here. So this is the cross section of testis. Let's go to the continuation part of this vas deferens, where it continues. So that point is also noted over here now. Yes, dear students, this is the entire male reproductive system of the human being, so that you are observing in the diagram. And so I had explained this one until, so vas deferens, this is nothing but vas deferens. So here a pair of testes are here, and from the pair of testes, so it contains testicular lobules, and each testicular lobules contains the tubular structures called as seminiferous tubules, and the seminiferous tubules, they open into, or they form together, they form a network of fine tubular structures called as rete testes, and rete testes later open into fine tubules called as, so vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia later enter into the head part of the epididymis called as caput epididymis, right? So this is the interior part of the epididymis, and this is the body of the epididymis, that is corpus epididymis, and this is called as the tail of the epididymis, that is called as cauda epididymis, right? So through which the produced, so all the sperms that travel through this, so tract itself, the continuation of the tract, as I already have told you. So the continuation of the tract, how does it take place in the entire male reproductive system that we are observing now, along with the, so the accessory glands that are present in the male reproductive system, right? So let us start with this testis itself. Now I explained testis to rete testis to vasa efferentia that opens into, so the highly coiled tubular structure called as what? This epididymis. And this epididymis has three parts. All these points to be noted now one by one. So very slowly I am going to explain, dear students. That's why, so you need to note down all the points over here, right? So the vasa efferentia that opens into the interior part of the epididymis, that is called as caput epididymis. Caput epididymis. From the caput epididymis, all the sperms that travel to the body of the epididymis, and from the body of the epididymis it travel to the cauda epididymis, the tail part of the epididymis, and from where the storage of the sperms take place along this, so this epididymis as well as vas deferens itself. So in the vas deferens as well as epididymis, so the storage of the sperms that take place, and they are immotile in nature in these parts, right? And a little bit secretion of these parts, these ducts also take place, and that secreted structure or secreted things that nourish the developed sperms, right? And Now the storage of the sperms especially, so that takes place in the caudal part of the epididymis as well as vas deferens itself, right? So this is how the produced sperms inside the testes that are stored over here, and this vas deferens is so little less coiled elongated tubular structure, and this is also making one of the ducts of the male accessory duct of male reproductive system that loops around the ureter, and that opens into a duct coming from the seminal vesicle. A pair of seminal vesicle you are observing here. So the duct of the seminal vesicle in which these vas deferens that open over here, right? Vas deferens that opens into the duct. So the duct came from the seminal vesicles, right? And the duct of the seminal vesicle as well as the vas deferens together form the duct called as ejaculatory duct. This is more important point to be noted over here. So as far as NEET is concerned, so what makes the ejaculatory duct, the question arises. So ejaculatory duct is made up of vas deferens as well as the duct coming from the seminal vesicles. Both duct together form a common duct called as ejaculatory duct itself, right? So this is more important point to be noted. Now the sperms that come from vas deferens into the ejaculatory duct easily, and this ejaculatory duct also, ejaculatory duct is also coming from what? The seminal vesicle, the duct of the seminal vesicle, and this is duct of the seminal vesicle, so that receives the secretion from this seminal vesicle. Later I shall explain these accessory ducts and their secretions as well as how they together form the semen. All those things I will explain it later. Now you just go through the connections now. So the secretion of the seminal vesicle that comes into the ejaculatory duct, along with the sperms, it enters into the what? It enters into the urethra. What is this structure called as? Urethra. This common passage itself is called as urethra. And this urethra is surrounded by a gland called as a single large gland called as prostrate gland. What is this known as? Prostrate gland. Now this urethra which is surrounded by the prostrate gland, it is called as prostratic urethra. What it is known as? Prostratic urethra. So now the semen or the sperms as well as the secretion of a seminal vesicle as well as secretion of the prostrate gland that lies inside the prostratic urethra, and later it goes to the next urethra. So next urethra which is very short one, and that urethra itself is called as membranous urethra. What it is known as? Membranous urethra, right? So this urethra is also there, right? Now we came to know what are ejaculatory duct, right? What is urethra? Urethra in males, humans, so it is called as urinogenital tract. Why this urethra itself is said to be as urinogenital tract is because urino stands for, it helps for the passage of the urine from the urinary bladder. This entire structure is urinary bladder through which the urine passes out, and simultaneously this is the same urethra through which the sperm or the semen is also passing over here. Hence this urethra in the males itself is a common passage for the moment of or the for passing up of both sperms, semen as well as the urine is called as urinogenital tract. Urethra in males is called as urinogenital tract, and this urethra is a longer tubular structure, and this is about 20 centimeter in length. Point to be noted, it is 20 centimeter in length in case of males, and it is a elongated one, but in case of females it is very short one, and it is not at all called as urinogenital tract. Why? Because urine passes through another tract, and the genital things or the secretion that passes through the vagina itself. So there are two openings that we come across, separate openings that we come across for passing of the urine as well as other things in case of female. So it is separate, hence it is not called as urinogenital tract, but it is called as urinogenital tract in case of males. Okay, now so this is the membranous urethra. It is called as, it is very shortest. Point to be noted, membranous urethra is very shortest, and the prostatic urethra, of course, it is a little more longer. And whenever you see this one is called as penile urethra. What it is called as? Penile urethra. It is highest lengthy in nature. Alright. So this is longest. These points are very important for as far as NEET examination is concerned with, right? So this is prostatic urethra, this is membranous urethra, and the membranous urethra. So or at this place there a pair of glands are also provided over here, and these pair of glands are called as Cowper's glands, or they are also called as Bulbourethral Glands, right? This point is very important one. Right, Bulbourethral glands or the Cowper's glands, they are named as. Their secretion is also sent to the membranous urethra, and the prostatic secretion is also sent over here, as well as seminal secretion is also sent over here along the sperms, right, along the sperms, all together form the semen, a thick whitish fluid that contains plenty number of sperms is called as semen. Later we'll discuss regarding that semen separately. So now we came to know what is semen made up of, right? What it contains is very important one, right? So during the ejaculation of the this semen into the female's reproductive tract, so there is a need of the copulatory organ called as the penis. This is called as penis, right? Later we'll see this structure of the penis under the heading external genitalia. Already I have told you. So primary sex organ, all others are secondary sex organs. External genitalia, these are the headings that we come across over here. So separately we'll have to study the accessory ducts we studied, and accessory glands and their respective secretions are also studied over here thoroughly. Alright, so let us start with the accessory glands over here. Accessory glands. What are the accessory glands that we come across here? These are nothing but seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles. So these are two in number. These are two in number. They are about 5 centimeter in length, and such kind of glands which are in pair. So these are in pair, and they secrete the secretion. They secrete the secretion. What is this secretion consisting of? Is very important one. The prostaglandin is the major secretion, and second one is fructose. Is the type of sugar it produces. It is the source for the movement of the sperms during copulation, right, or ejaculation. After ejaculation they start to move themselves with utilizing the energy, this fructose itself. So this is also one more content of this what, seminal vesicle, and its pH is about 7.4. Its pH is about 7.4 and it is alkaline in nature. It is alkaline in nature, and it also secretes one more thing to be noted over here, that is clotting proteins. It also produces clotting factors are present in the blood usually, but these clotting factors are somewhat different from that one, right? So these are not confined to that one. So remember, all these are the major secretions of what, this seminal vesicles, seminal vesicles, right? So this is one thing. And second accessory gland is prostrate gland. So here you have to focus on this gland. This is a single large gland here, right? This is a single gland over here, right? It is not in pairs. See here, seminal vesicles are in pair, bulbourethral glands are in pair, right? Testes are in pair, epididymis are in pair, vas deferens are in pair. All are paired one. Only one thing that is unpaired itself is a prostrate gland. Point to be noted over here. So this prostrate gland also secretes the secretion. Prostatic secretion, it secretes, and this secretion mainly consisting of, what it consisting of is citric acid. It consisting of citric acid is the major source for the sperms, nourishment source for the sperms. This is very important point to be noted in this case, in case of prostrate gland. Along with this one, so the pH of the fluid which is secreted by this, so prostrate gland is a little acidic in nature. Acidic in nature, it is about 6.5. It is about 6.5. This acidic nature is also essential. So right, so prostrate gland that contains citric acid, and along with this one, certain enzymes like acid phosphatase is also released over here. Certain enzymes like acid phosphatase, right? Acid phosphatase is released over here. Along with this one, amylase is also released over here, and one more is very important one, pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is also another enzyme released, so over here, and that is the major content of this prostrate gland. And all these secretions, they help in activation of these sperms. They help in activation of these sperms and help in actively swimming, right? So they help in active swimming of these sperms in the vaginal debris itself, right? So that is also very important thing to be noted regarding the prostrate gland. And one more gland I shall write here itself, right? And that gland is bulbourethral gland. These are also in pairs. Bulbourethral glands. These are also in pairs. These are in pair, and these mainly secretes. Secretion is mainly the mucus. Only the mucus secretion is taking place from this bulbourethral gland that helps in a lubrication during sexual intercourse, right? This mucus would help in a lubrication during copulation or sexual intercourse. So between the male as well as female. So during sexual intercourse it would lubricate, right? So this is also one more important point we noted regarding the accessory glands. There are three accessory glands that we come across. One is seminal vesicle, second one is prostrate gland, and bulbourethral gland. And along with this one, there are two sphincters that we come across. One is internal sphincter and another one is external sphincter. So those sphincters are seen usually in the urethra. So see here at the neck of the urinary bladder, there is one sphincter is present, which is made up of a smooth muscles itself, and this sphincter that closes. So whenever the urine is storing over here, and along with this one, membranous urethra, whatever we come across, there only one more sphincter that we come across, and that sphincter which is having the striated muscles over here. So this is internal sphincter, this is external sphincter, are the two sphincters that we come across here in the urethral part. So this is about the urethra. And the tip portion of the urethra, the opening of the urethra which opens to the exterior, and that is called as urethral orifice or urethral meatus, right? It is called as urethral meatus, right? So this is all about the male reproductive system. Usually in the examination, this male reproductive system is asked for 5 marks. This is usually asked for 5 marks. Most of the time female reproductive system is asked over here, but sometimes there is a possibility of asking this male reproductive system also, right? So this is all about the male reproductive system. Students, practice this diagram very well, and so try to focus on every MCQs which occurs from this male reproductive system, and you must always remember the connections. So that is nothing but how the accessory ducts have been connected one by one. All those things, as well as the accessory glands along with their secretion, you must remember, and that is more useful. And in the next class I am going to deal with the semen, the content of the semen, pH of the semen, along with this one. So the penis, that is nothing but external genitalia, its structure and what it helps for, what is the function of the penis, all those things we will discuss in the next period. Thank you very much.